Good evening. That's all, folks. And I welcome all of you back to another Rage video where tonight, ladies and gentlemen, I alluded to last time that Russian Roulette by Rihanna, as great as it was, and I cannot sit here and tell you guys exactly how completely out of left field that song was, and how it was one of the most ahead of its time songs there, because there really was nothing else like it, and there almost is nothing like that in mainstream pop even nowadays. I mean, you get the exception to stuff like Unholy by Sam Smith, but again, that's the sort of song where I kind of respected it more than I liked it, because there were because aside from Smith himself, I think there were better ways to like come up with the message. And then again, Blurred Lines, for example, is like even further away from that, because Blurred Lines is just really, really strange. And again, if I had problems with, convictions about the fact that whether or not Russian Roulette would ever get released today, whether or not that would have been really brought into the question, Blurred Lines, no, I don't think it would. I mean, to be honest, I really don't think it would. But getting back to Russian Roulette for a second, I think it's a highly underrated song, yes, but I don't think it's Rihanna's most underrated song, because all joking aside, I think Russian Roulette actually has something of a bit of a cult following, because it balances out between people who don't necessarily like pop music and those who sort of like wanted to seek something different in music, in pop music specifically. Might not have been with Rihanna, but there's plenty of contemporaries. However, at the time when Rihanna was doing a lot of stuff, I think it was like Only Girl in the World, and there's that very weird trilogy of Rude Boy, What's My Name, Who's That Chick. I think there was like a song in between, but then she just straight up went for a song about bondage called S&M, which... Now listen, let me tell you something right now. I like those songs, but it seemed a very strange sequence. It felt like the sort of thing where like Rihanna was just straight up like... was like becoming open to the idea of being more sexual, and then she just straight up went for, you know what, I'll just be the friggin' Dom Queen. I think that's what she was going for. But then there was this song, and this song just kind of, for the most part, I think just kind of like went under the radar, and my memories of it are very, very slim. But I want to see if it's, that's why I kind of wanted to go back to it, because is it worth coming back to? Is there something in this, or is this bed literally just a little bit shallow? So, if you guys want to check out the original video for yourselves, links will all be in the description down below. So let's begin. California King Bed in 3, 2, 1, and... Well, it definitely looks like California. Oh. That's kind of another thing I've kind of noticed a lot with like Rihanna's music. It always like begins with her literally like waking up from something, which, it's I don't know why. Is that just kind of like a signature thing with her? Because I think there's kind of a lot to be said about that. I just think it's kind of an interesting choice. That's all. Anyway. It's a very large bed, I must admit. Anyway. Oh, wow.
Chest to chest, nose to nose, palm to palm. We were always just that close. Wrist to wrist, toe to toe. lips that felt just like the inside of a rose. So how come when I reach out my finger, it feels like more than distance between us? In this California king bed, we're 10,000 miles apart. I bet California wishing on these stars for your heart, for me, my California king. Eye to eye, cheek to cheek, side by side, you were sleeping next to me, arm in arm, dusk to dawn, with the curtains drawn, and a little last night on these sheets. So how come when I reach out my fingers, it seems like more than distance between us? In this California king bed, we're 10,000 miles apart. I bet California wishing on these stars for your heart, for me, my California king. Just when I felt like giving up on us, you turn around and give me one last touch that made everything feel better. And even then my eyes got wetter. So confused when I ask you if you love me, but I don't wanna seem so weak. Maybe I've been California dreaming. In this California king bed, we're 10,000 miles apart. California wishing on these stars for your heart, for me, my California king. My California in this California king bed, we're 10,000 miles apart. I bet California wishing on these stars for your heart, for me, my California king.
It's kind of strange. It would did it seem as if like it cut itself off a little bit, like very abruptly towards the end. It sounded like they had to like rush her to finish this. So yeah, can I just I want to say this right now. Do I think this is the worst? No, the most underrated Rihanna song there. It's kind of strange because, to be honest, I genuinely do not know. I that is absolutely the truth. Jessie J's price tag got 823 million? Bro, that is like... Is there no justice in this world, really? So... Okay, let me just go... I want to go through this like step by step. Because... I really, really liked the song itself. You know the first thing that curiously came to my mind? Halo by Beyonce. And that is also a song that I think, like, it's sort of like, I don't really know how many people have, like, ever come back to it, I've like listened to it once or twice in the last couple of years, and it's really good because Beyonce is just that good of a singer. But Rihanna, oh my god, I did really like touch a lot on it when I did Russian Roulette, but Rihanna's voice is it's mesmerizing in how inviting it all is. It doesn't really seem the sort of voice that has a lot of conviction. It feels like there's a lot of grief. Like it wants to like let this all go. It's all like almost scream through the grief, and it's kind of that sort of. And again, this is my interpretation, so don't take everything I say too seriously. But it kind of made the idea of the song a bit more like authentic, and there is quite a lot to be said about the subject matter as well, because it's an anomaly to me about like the sort of thing they did like in pop music. But are we also going to talk about the fact that for one reason or another, I'm a little bit about the fact that I sort of know exactly what they're going for. Which is why I find it a little bit more even more confusing when I think about it. Because let's think about it step by step. It's about two people who are just lying in bed next to each other, and they're just enjoying each other's company. At least we think that's what's going on. Rihanna then literally screams like she feels like we're 10,000 miles apart, despite being right next to each other. It's supposed to be a very romantic, a very sort of relaxed, a very calm, and very, very just. You get the impression it's like these two are actually married and they are going to spend the rest of their lives with each other. And yet, why? Why exactly do they feel so far apart? And I think the only reason I like to imagine why is because of when Rihanna mentions the lines Californian Dreamin'. Now, for those who don't know, California Dreamin' was a 1963 song by the Mamas and the Papas, and in order to describe exactly what the phrase means, I actually have to kind of like paraphrase California Dreamin' for a second. So bear in mind 1 second. All the leaves are brown, the leaves are brown, and the sky is grey, and the sky is grey. I've been going out for a walk on a winter's day, on a winter's day. If I safe and sound, safe and sound, if I was in LA, if I was in LA. California, California, dreaming on such a winter's day. Yeah, sorry about that last part. But, okay, so understanding exactly what they think they're coming across, you get the idea that it's like, are they in California? Like, are they in paradise? Are they in a place where they have always wanted to be? Or are they still not in California? Or are they in California, but it doesn't feel like the place they've always talked about? Nothing about this feels like the way they thought it was going to be. I don't think these two are like fallen out of in love with each other, but it's like, I don't think the reality of things is set in, or the reality has set in, and I don't think either of them can believe it. I think these two are as scared as each other, because are they really that prepared for like to really be together? And they can sing about, being like so like close in bed, but I don't necessarily think that makes anything more compassionate. I think it's a very forced upon idea, because oh god, I think because this is the real world. And in quite a lot of Rihanna's other stuff, we see her like wearing some like zebra one bodysuit, literally straddling like a stuffed tiger, or she will like I don't know, something like an S&M, she will like get dressed up in leather or something like that. Or there's a lot of fantasy like played around in a lot of her stuff, and in a lot of the way she dressed, especially even in the early tens and stuff like that. But then we sort of like get a little bit back down to earth, and the reality of it is that, you know what, people get married, but that does not necessarily mean they feel any more towards each other. And this could literally go into the cases of people who've been married for years, and yet they feel so lonely because, as far as some, because there are some people who literally have the outlook that holy matrimony literally only means that legally, or rather, you have a binding contract, which is you have to sleep in the same bed. Now, again, maybe this is just the point of the view of somebody who, like me, somebody who's never really been in a relationship before. But at the same time, I don't really think I'm like that curious. I'm that bothered really about like being in a relationship or not. In fact, do I even really want to get married? I don't know. I've really got to think about stuff like that. But listen, let me tell you something, guys, right now. Quite a lot of the people I knew from school, from secondary school, I mean, some of them have had what I can only describe as probably roller coaster times since, at least since 2014, since we left school at 16. Some of them have kids. Some of them are on to their second kids. Some of them are just starting out to be first-time parents. I know there's one guy, right? He has been married for, well, he's been engaged since I think 2018, and I think they tied the knot last year. And this guy, right? I think he's like a flying officer now for the Royal Air Force. So I like to imagine this is a guy who literally, I think he knows his own mind. And listen to this. I think there are so many other people as well than just the people I mentioned who absolutely know what they want, and they just go out and get it, and they face the world because that's the responsible and the accountable thing to do. If you really want to, like, you know, have kids, if you really want to be in a really meaningful relationship, then you've got to work on it. You've got to say, if this is what you really want, then you've got to make true on that. Because having a kid, for example, is a lifelong responsibility. If I ever have kids, and again, that's seriously in doubt because, well, if for no other reason, then forget the fact that, you know, whatever I do for the rest of my life, you know, whether I sell all my scripts, whether I make millions of pounds and stuff like that, the only thing that would actually mean anything would be that my children's lives, you know, the lives they led. Because no, in all seriousness, probably the reason why I don't want to have kids, maybe at least right now, is that I've got to make sure that I'm responsible enough to take care of myself before I can start raising a little one. And sort of like bringing all this back to California King Bed for a second right now, I think it's perfectly fine to like not be in a relationship right now. I think it's that it's like the fantasy of these two maybe finally being together, like lying side by side, you know, cuddling each other and living what they can only describe as like a dream life and stuff like that. I think it is literally just a dream. I think the reality of things is that they didn't realize that maybe they're not the best match for each other. Maybe it's like this is sort of like a cautionary sort of message, and it's the sort of thing where in pop music especially, where so many people will go off about having sex with each other, and this isn't just in pop music. This is also in rap. This is also in metal. They will go off about the only thing that matters is being with other people and how many people you've been with, and again, this is across a wider spectrum of genres, and pop is not the only one at fault here, or the only one to call out. But none of them ever really seem to be. None of them really seem to go about the the Graduate route. You know, you ever see the end of The Graduate where the two people sort of like, they're in the back of the bus and they're sort of like, and then they like hold each other's hands and they're like, and like that their face, like it changes. They're like overcome with joy, and then they just sort of like relax, and they're sort of like, oh, so are we? So we really are doing this then? That's what I'm getting a lot from California King Bed. It's the reality of things settling in, and it's not nearly as, you know, all that glitters is not gold. And thank goodness again. This is, you know, just like Russian roulette, I genuinely do not know if I could think of any other example in around about this time period, like let's say from between 2009 to 2014, where there was any sort of like pop song that ever came out that really went at this angle. Because I don't really know either. And I think that's it's amazing. It's fascinating that it's sort of it does it like that. The only real exception maybe I can think about is maybe Jason Derulo's Riding Solo. But then that's just about the joys of being single. This is more about like the reality of actually being in a relationship with somebody. That's like, I think it's like really, really scary. And maybe it's, again, listen, let me tell you something right now, ladies and gentlemen. This is real talk about if you really do want to be in a relationship. Because listen, I'm one to talk right now, but listen, there are people in this world right now who are desperate with loneliness and reckless with misery. I think there are a lot of people a lot worse off than me, for example. Oh yes, there absolutely are. But more than that, I think if you really want to like get into a relationship with somebody, first off, you just got to get to know people, and then you work your way. It works itself from there. But maybe more than anything, and maybe this is just something I just learned through natural like ways. Learn to be content and happy with yourself. Because if you can't make yourself happy, how on earth do you think you're going to make someone else happy? It's not unconditional at first, but then it sets in, and yeah, you just gotta have to. You gotta roll with it. Well, don't worry, ladies and gentlemen. They say there is a special person out there for everybody. Just make sure you're happy with yourselves first, and it will go itself from there. That's yeah. So anyway, just before we go, do I think this is Rihanna's most underrated song ever? Yes, I do. I think this is more underrated than Russian Roulette. Because I can't think of anybody who even goes at this sort of angle. Maybe there's more, but I'll be yet to see it. So anyway, I hope all of you guys have enjoyed this reaction video to California King Bed by Rihanna. Please make sure to leave all your thoughts and comments in the comment section down below. Let me know what you guys thought of California King Bed for yourselves, and I cannot wait to see all of you guys again in the next video. Take care, and bye-bye for now.